Come on. What are you doing then?
I'm
sitting on. Oh, what are you sitting on?
Sitting on bullseye.
Bullseye. Does that make you Woody?
Bit personal.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to the first episode of what's going on in the workshop from the MX5 restorer. Not much to talk about in the car park, really. It's Friday the 3rd, so new cars will be arriving tomorrow, and everything that was here is in the workshop, really. So I haven't really got anything to talk about. We've got a few things to talk about anyway. There's a couple of jobs going on which are interesting, but as it's so early on in the year, nothing big has really been started. How's Roy?
Bonjour. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just playing with my rod.
Not very big.
No, well, that's what I say.
Well, I suppose lengthwise it's not too bad, but not very girthy, is it? Garthy. It's not very garthy, is it?
Does the job. Right?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Twiddling my thumbs. Tidying up after breaking the car.
It's just a service now. It's just an engine service.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bought that news for you.
I didn't think it would go for a full service.
Yeah. So.
So it came in for a full service and for inspection.
We just found
quite a bit of corrosion.
Yeah. So it's worth saying that, you know, when we get cars in, and it's quite often we just do free inspections on a Saturday, but we also do free inspections throughout the week. So maybe a car come in like this, it's come in for a full service, but the customer asked for a free inspection on it before obviously the work's carried out, and to let them know. So obviously, you know, when we do that, we do glance over the car, and unfortunately we've had to report back to this customer that there's a lot of repairs that need doing and repairs that have been done, which we can't really say
too much about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it's crusty with a bit of a clean up, but there's some in-depth rust issues going on, isn't there?
There is,
especially sort of here
in that area,
where that's gone up. That sort of says inner seal, rear jacking point, and probably other stuff that's going to be behind there.
Yeah, I mean both the rear seals have been repaired before. Probably not too bad back in the day. But,
so they've got filler in them, and it goes all the way up the arch, up there. But the thing that really got, so if you cast your eye up there, if you've got a keen eye, you'll notice that there's a plate. There's actually 3 plates, I think, that have been put up there. One, and then there's a join there where Roy's finger is.
To here.
And then up to there.
And it goes from there to there.
Yeah. So that's just been tacked in, probably over some serious rust issues. Hang on, there we go. Handy, this camera's quite small.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go, that's a better view. So it goes, that's the join there, and then you can sort of see it goes all the way back. So that's obviously not ideal. So when we see work like that, it's hard to sort of tell whether or not that was all cleaned up properly, removed. You know, it could be clean behind, but you don't know. And the fact that it's just been tacked in, and it doesn't really look like it's been sealed up much, my guess would be it's just a patch over some serious rust.
Yeah.
Is it both sides? It is, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is
This
both
side,
sides.
this side's been a bit. I think they were done at different times because this side has been concealed a lot more. But you can just see. Hang on, I need to turn my camera around so I can see the screen.
Okay, just there.
Yeah, you can sort of see well, can't you?
Yeah, it's a weld
It's
line
definitely
there.
not standard underseal, but this side, I reckon the repairs were done at a different time, and someone's had either that or it's. I think if you were to hit that, I think there'd be some holes behind there because it just looks a little bit flimsy, doesn't it? In some way, it looks like it's quite wavy, but can't really. I can't tell if someone has put a patch over all that or whether it's just been like just something put over the top panel seal or something and then just covered it up because it's very wavy.
It does, but the rust goes further as well. Battery tray. This is a common area on the 2.2 and 2.5s nowadays. Is that the battery tray starts to corrode out.
Yeah, we're not even going to touch that because that will be so wafer thin.
Yeah.
Even if you pull that underseal off, there's a chance that just the metal will come away with it.
Just make a hole.
So that is something that we look at, mate. On it's mainly on what year is this? It's an 03, so it's not. It's generally So when you are checking 2.5s and Mark IIs, it does generally seem to be more 2.5s, but we had a couple of 2s with it. Is those areas on the back where the cubby in the boot on the left hand side where the little cubby box is, check that, and the battery, because if they've gone there's generally rust all over the car. There are some other places with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite corroded. It's like jacking points.
Yeah.
Start going. So. But yeah, we'll just service it anyway.
So we spoke to the customer, told them what we found, and then they've just decided to do an engine service now rather than a full service. So, when something's come in for a free inspection, we do contact the customer first before anything, just because they've asked to see if we find anything, and that was significant enough to warrant a call to them, and now they've decided just to do an engine service. All right, I'll let you crack on with that then, Roy.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with my hands in the pocket for a bit.
You playing with your rod still, are you?
It's over there.
Oh, it's over there, yeah. Okay, cool.
Bye.
Bye. What's going on over here? Are you buffing?
Rubbing this.
We'll come to that in a minute, Jim. You've been enjoying that, haven't you?
Yeah, it's good fun.
So Jim's cleaning and spraying and putting things back together over there. So that's going to be exciting to talk about in a minute. There's lots to talk about that.
No.
New year, new rust.
No, it's old rust.
No, it's new year. New year, old rust.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But it's new rust because it's a new year, isn't it? It's the first rust for you, so it's new.
New job, not new rust. That rust was definitely there last year.
Well, maybe. Come on.
What?
What are you doing then?
I'm
Sitting on. Oh, what are you sitting on?
Sitting on bullseye.
Bullseye. Does that make you Woody?
Bit personal.
Look, you're right. Look, riding bullseye. This is what Ashlee's welder is called.
When I'm yee-hawing it.
When you're yee-hawing it, you don't yee-haw it. You're completely the opposite. You're Mr. Perfectionist. You're not happy unless it's perfect.
Someone has to be.
Oh. Right. What have you done here then?
Done a bit of
Seal.
shopping.
So inner seal.
Yep. Got a bit of the player still on the bottom of the end plate.
Not too bad. So is it same this side as well?
Yeah, this one was a bit unusual. The rust it wasn't really between the outer seal and the inner seal. It wasn't that thick. Most of the rust was in this area here, where it had rusted through the bottom of this panel and then rusted through the inner seal. So normally, if it's holed, we'd replace the whole inner seal. But this bit is all completely fine. There's barely any rust on it. So.
Well, if you say it's fine, it's definitely going to be fine. Because you would have cut off more than you needed to anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're
the
a perfectionist, aren't you, Ashlee?
Here,
because someone's got to be.
I can't help it. I can't help it if I'm just perfect.
It's your wife. Is your wife called Mary Poppins then?
What's a wife? I've got MX5s to repair. I don't have time for a wife.
Okay, do you know what? That does take a lot of time when you eventually get married and kids finish it off. You have nothing left. Your soul is just drained. I'm only joking, by the way. I love my wife and kids a lot.
Does she watch these videos?
No, she doesn't actually.
You're
no,
just covering yourself.
No,
just in case.
she actually finds them cringeworthy. Of me watching, I think there would be nothing worse for her to sit down and watch me on video. Well, I've got to make the video time up somehow. I think a lot of our viewers like it when we just waffle. Makes the video up.
I could do some waffles now.
Okay, so you're done now, aren't you? Not much to talk about, really.
I'm not done. I'm waiting for you to hurry up so I can do some work, Chris.
Oh, that's right. So, okay. Thanks, Ash. Okay, now I'm going to talk about this one, and you guys have been sending. Oh, you guys. You guys on YouTube have been sending us lots of comments on this Black Mk1. So this is the one we've got the running issue on. And yes, we have changed the coolant temp sensor, the engine temp sensor. So what the process of works that we've got done so far is had 3 cam angle sensors, a new coil pack. That's an off-putting, Jim. That's off-putting. So 3 cam angle sensors, 1 new coil pack, a new plug on the cam angle sensor. We've changed the MAF. What else parts wise? The O2 sensor's been changed. I've metered out and checked the wiring going from the cam angle sensor to the ECU. I've measured the resistance on there and connectivity. Everything's all checking out okay. 2 ECUs, we've done it, and I took it for a test drive this morning with the new coil packs that we fitted before Christmas. We thought that cured the problem, and I took it for an hour's drive. It was fine for about 50 minutes, and then on the way back to the workshop it done it again, which weirdly it seemed to be doing it more as the fuel got lower. So we've checked the fault codes. It's fault code 1, which is ignition pulse, and I'm just checking the fuel tank now, but that really doesn't really have much relation to that fault code that's come up. But I think we're getting close to the point of sort of looking at possibly either a loom change at the moment, because there really isn't much anything. We've changed so much on this, and checked the wiring, like HT leads, spark plugs, and it just has this sporadic random fault, which has got worse as the fuel's got lower though. So there's a few more things I'm going to try. It's definitely been one of the most stubborn MX5s to get fixed that I've come across. What? Stubborn?
Yeah.
I'm not stubborn. Yeah. So that's what I've come back to after Christmas. So I want to get to the bottom of this because it's just doing my head in. But we've changed, it's had 2 coolant temp sensors in there. One of them flagged up a fault to say it was wrong, so I've put another one back in there. And I've kept it with original stuff that's working, apart from the coil packs, which is, they're the 4-pinned one, and we thought that could have been an issue, but turns out it's not. So there we go. So I'm going to persist with this, and then once I get to the bottom of it, I'll let you guys know. But it's just one of those bad faults. Okay, you guys. Let's go and see Jim.
Right.
Yeah, you got lots to talk about today, haven't you, Jim?
Well, yeah. Lots to do.
So this red one is an early production one that myself and Gareth got, oh god, I think it might be about 2 or 3 years ago, I think. and it's just been sitting in our bunker. But we actually, it was at the paint shop for a year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Irma. So it was at AJ's for a year, and they finally got it done after having a bit of a laugh with them about saying it was part of their fixtures and fittings. We never gave them a date. We wanted it back, and there was a few things I needed to go and strip off the car anyway, but it was one of those things that just got left at the workshop and just started gathering dust, and we never pushed them to get it done, and it just became a bit of a joke really, in terms of having a laugh that our car was just sitting in their workshop. But he got it round to it, and he got it done before Christmas and got it back to us. So the plan for this car is, and the reason why we've got it is, it was one of the first batches off the production line, and it does actually have quite a rare plate. There's actually an F-Reg MX5, which I don't think it's to do with anything that it was out early. It was just a DVLA thing, but it makes it a bit different than others. And it's going to go up for sale. And Jim, at the moment, is in the process of doing...
Putting a throttle cable in.
But that's not what you've done though, is it, Jim?
No.
Can we go down a bit? Because it's hard for me to see with the camera.
Oh, rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's building an MX5 from scratch now.
But you stripped this though, didn't you?
Yeah, a lifetime ago.
It was. I think it might have been one of the first things that you may have done when you first joined us, wasn't it? It wasn't probably far away from it.
Was it before Christmas? It might have been,
You were here for a while, but it was you. So Jim stripped it, and so obviously Jim gets the pleasure of putting it back together, because that's sort of how we try to work it down here. That if you start a job, then you generally, it's quite nice sometimes to follow a project all the way through. And Jim has been painstakingly putting this back together, but in the process cleaning things up and painting them to make them look a little bit better.
Yeah.
So the engine bay was painted, and yeah, you've just been... So tell us what you've been doing.
All the little brackets and silly bits, painting them. I need to do that one because that's not really nice enough. But paint the brake servo. Put all of the aircon pipes back in, trying not to break them.
Excuse me while I squeeze past you.
Brake lines, got to go back in across here. Actually, they're already in. Get the wiring looms back through the bulkhead.
So it's starting to take shape now, isn't it? Like the back end, and then you're going to work your way forward.
Maybe tomorrow I'll get it started. I'll aim at getting it running so at least it can move.
Yeah, I suppose it's possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's not, you haven't got to worry about doing all the lights and stuff. So we'll probably end up maybe cleaning up a few bits on the engine though as well before you start worrying about starting it. I'll turn around and say maybe we should take that off and just clean up.
Yeah, and the cam belt's in good nick.
Take the alternator off and give that a bit of a polish. Haven't got to go mental on it. And just paint it, I don't know. Because you made this look so nice now, Jim.
I know. That's the problem. You make one
that is the problem, because now that you've made that look nice, it's sort of like you look at that and think, oh, that's clean. You've cleaned this up as well. And the top bit. And then you come here and it's just a little bit... Yeah, I think maybe a little bit more time spent on that. But worrying about putting it back together.
I'm just going to end up cleaning and polishing and painting everything, aren't I?
Yeah, well, the plan is that this car was bought... initially, Gareth bought this car to have and to own personally. And it sat around for ages, and then I think he then bought his camper. Might have been about that time, and it was then he decided that he didn't really have any more time for an MX5 project, so the company bought it off of Gareth, and then it went into the storage, and then the plan was to do it up one day and sell it, and it did. Rustworks, Gareth had already done them in his personal time, so it was a case of getting it stripped, paint and go, but we decided to get the engine bay done. What's that?
This is in one of the very first videos on our channel.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
How do you remember these things, Roy?
Do.
I struggle to remember what I did last week on the channel.
No, it was in one of the, it was one of the ones where Gareth used to sit on his stool and talk to the camera himself.
Is this seal repairs? Like how to, was it?
Might be. No, you was no. It was way before I started here as well. But Gareth did do a video on this one.
Yeah, so we've had it for a while.
A long time.
But it's...
I'm going again, bye.
Okay, cheers, Roy. So, yeah, can't remember what I was saying now. But, yeah, so it has been featured before. And now the process is we're putting it back together to get it sold. So if anyone out there is looking for a very clean red early production MX5, then give us a call, because this, once it is put back together, will be going up for sale. It's not going to be cheap, but then there's a lot of work that's been going into it. Okay. You putting your throttle cable in now?
Yeah, paint some more brackets.
Okay. Cool. Alright, Jim. I'll leave you with that.
Okay.
Right, so that's what's going on in the workshop. We'll see you on another video next week. I've already said Happy New Year in one of the previous videos, I think, so I won't say it again because I'm not sure when this one's coming out. So thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.